So guys, I'm here with Lagacy. First of all, Lagacy, I want to thank you so much for joining me to talk about your New York Comic Con 2017 tournament win.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me here.
No problem. It's really such a kind of amazing feat. I'm so glad that obviously it's a Marvel Contest of Champions YouTuber that's got the win. Not to be rude to any of you people, it should be you should aspire to obviously better yourself, to go to these events, and Kabam do have plans to kind of do so many different things that you know, you should strive to get to that point. And we're going to like talk about how Lagacy did it, the kind of tips, tricks that he has to kind of help you out as a player moving forward. So yeah, I'm really curious about so many things with your win. So the first question is, how was the whole experience of the New York Comic Con as a convention and then as a tournament itself?
Well, like as a convention, this was my first time going to like any sort of convention, so like it was pretty big for my first convention, but it was okay. Like I was with EOS, a bunch of other good friends and stuff, so we just mainly looked for the MCOC booth, got there, and the whole vibe of the booth was just great. All the Kabam people there, it was great talking to them. We could pretty much ask them whatever you wanted. They were all really nice. It was really cool meeting like other people in the community. Just really good vibes all around.
Oh, that's so cool, because obviously, I mean, from my perspective, like I really want to go next year, and I'm like what? I'm just thinking to myself, like, what it'd be like, you know, going up to Adora and being like, you know, do I feel a little bit bashful, or kind of going like, hey, like, hi, how are you? It's kind of an odd experience, but they were really welcoming, you say?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Were you able to kind of like ask them any questions, or like address any kind of issues that we might experience, like with regards to like consistency with stuff in the game?
Yeah, they were cool if you asked them anything. A couple of them even had like some notebooks, so like they were just writing down like problems you had with the game, any changes you wanted to see in the future. They were just taking notes, so it was really good.
I mean, that's quite good. I know I've seen like a few kind of comments from people that have been like, oh, it doesn't matter if they take comments, put it down in a notebook, that they have to act on them. And like, I understand that, but you know, I have to manage like a facility, so that's my like professional job. And if I wasn't seen to be taking down notes, then I don't have anything to refer back to. It's still something that say is on a to-do list, so to speak. But you know, I think people, again, it's like that personal aspect that someone's taking the time to write down something to then go, right, we need to do something about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And what about the tournament itself? Like the whole kind of concept behind it, was it kind of like, was it done well? Was it prepared well, do you think?
So like, I'm not sure. Like, I don't really like the whole way that it happened, because basically you need to qualify on the leaderboard, so you need to get a top time, and a lot of the ways to get the top time is you have to get lucky with like crits and certain other things that are really out of the player's control. Yeah. So it wasn't all skill, you know, but there obviously was a skill aspect to it, of course. Absolutely. But just a little bit of the RNG. I don't know. I think they could do it a little more skill based next year, but it was still a good event to have and everything.
Yeah, and that brings me on to like the next question, which is like, obviously when you were preparing in those prelims, what were the stipulations? I know you said there was, you know, it was a lot on RNG. You know, what were you given with regards to, say, masteries? I don't think there, from looking at a lot of the footage, I don't think you were able to get much synergies in place, or was it just a single character fight?
Yeah, so basically they had like 2 stations set up for the qualifiers, and so it was for the day that I qualified, it was a Mephisto boss, so you could bring in 1 champion, no synergies, and then they had like preset masteries, so it was like the first 2 masteries in the offensive and defensive trees maxed, like the greater attack and stuff, and then just parry and dexterity, and that's it, just basic build.
Right, I mean, that does sound very kind of strict. I understand obviously what they want to get out of that, but damn, I guess it's like then brings me on to like my next question about how Stark Spidey kind of like factored into your choice. Like were you very restricted on the characters you chose, or did you have like a large spectrum of characters to kind of choose from?
They had like every 5-star available in the game there that you could use, except for like the new champs. So like, you couldn't use Mephisto, Blade, or Morningstar, but every other 5-star champ available you could use.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool. So what kind of brought you on to Stark Spidey? I know a lot of the little bit of research that I did was I was watching like some of your gameplay was that it was very cautious. Were you trying to access a lot of the things with poise and kind of really utilizing things with a signature ability with Hero's Mantra? And at times, obviously, it seemed that you were keeping above that 50% mark to utilize great power. What was your kind of like thoughts with that champion and the way you were going to play him?
Yeah, definitely, because I have a 5-star Stark Spider-Man on my account, so I play with him all the time. So I definitely know how to use him. But yeah, the poise charges, they give you a huge attack boost, and if you are above that 50%, you do get a lot of crit rate. And because there's just a basic mastery build, you can't increase your crit rate with any of like the precision mastery. So being able to have your crit rate increased by Stark Spider-Man's signature ability, it really does help out.
Yeah, and it did really show that there were times in the fight, which I'll put the imagery up in the video up as we're talking, the aspects around the crits. There were at times there was like really consistent crits we were seeing, like 1000s, 2000s just on every single hit, which was just, it was really good to kind of get down Maestro's power, not power, the health pool as quickly as possible. And that was the name of the game, wasn't it? To kind of get Maestro down as much health as possible rather than the boss kill. Is that correct?
For the final day, yeah. You just want to do as much damage as you could on the second time going in, yeah.
Gotcha, yeah. So this is the thing about, you're up on a stage, like your composure, like how did you feel being up on that stage and kind of like all these people watching you, and how did you keep your composure in that kind of circumstance?
Oh man, I was so nervous. Like behind the stage, the guy told me, like, dude, you look really nervous. I'm like, yeah, I am, man. I was like shaking, but yeah, I just got up there, I sat down, I was wiping off my hands because they were so sweaty. But yeah, and then but at the end of the day, up there, I just thought to myself, you know, this is MCOC. I play this game for hours every day. It's just MCOC, so I just try to remember that and just do what I usually do, just play my normal game.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in times where I've been playing and just like, I'm so nervous because I'm either thinking like, oh, I can't lose health here, I don't have any units, I'm a bit kind of like panicky. Even with like normal playing, it might be kind of like difficult content I'm going up against. What would you feel was, obviously you said that you know, you play this game constantly, you should know the kind of the way that certain champions work and move. What would you say to other players in circumstances where they're playing off against difficult content to kind of make them feel, you know, how would they keep their composure under that circumstance?
Just make sure you're practicing all your skills. So like in Labyrinth of Legends and stuff, you need to know how to intercept. So before you go in there, just practice intercepting in arena and stuff. Make sure you really just practice those skills before you go into that difficult content. And then just take it slow, because in difficult content, there's no timers or anything. Like in Alliance Quest and War, there's those 3-minute timers. But even with those timers, 3 minutes is a lot of time in a fight. A lot of people try to rush those fights. You have plenty of time. Just slow down a bit.
Absolutely, and it's like looking you at the stage, just thinking like you look so calm and collected. It was just like, it was really cool to see it. It would be nice if like did like, I think there's some live stream of it from Marvel New York Comic Con on the Marvel Entertainment website. I'm gonna have to dig that off because it's pretty cool. Like I said, full composure there, so fantastic work. So
thank you.
That's right. Even like Stark Spidey, if he wasn't available, because obviously your experience, and obviously you should always go with champions that you are really experienced with. For me, it's like I really love my Dormammu. Unfortunately, he spends most of the time being an Alliance Wars defender, so I don't get to use him quite as much as I'd like to. But if you didn't have that go-to champion as being Stark Spidey, what would be the next 3 champions that you would choose for this, in order to kind of like maximize your damage output for, say, a tournament like this?
Yeah, definitely my next option is probably Star-Lord. I was even debating using Star-Lord on the stage, but Brian Grant actually convinced me just to go in with Stark Spidey, and I'm really glad he did. But yeah, Star-Lord was definitely my number 2 option, and then also Archangel. Archangel has some crazy damage output.
Yeah, I saw was it was there someone else on stage using Gwenpool? Quote me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, Yeet used Gwenpool on the final challenge.
How did that play out? Because that would be another champion that I would kind of like look at for damage output. How did that kind of pair off with the other two that we mentioned?
She was doing all right. Once, like, her damage output wasn't the best, but once he did get that armor break from the L3 on, he was doing a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just wasn't quite enough compared to like Star-Lord and Stark Spidey.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that, but it's like in the game at the moment we have very go-to champions for certain things. I think a lot of people will learn from the experiences that you've had, as well as other MCC YouTubers, that certain champions will be good for different things. Obviously, if it's all about damage output, you know, and maybe Kabam in future will do tournaments where maybe it's like stay alive the longest as opposed to do the most damage. But obviously, it's just me kind of like throwing off like random ideas. But how would you feel that they could do a different tournament in future? Like I heard that there was ideas that they would do things where there would be hosts in different areas. Seaton put out a great video about this and said there could be potential hosts in different places around the world to do tournaments. How do you think they might differ these tournaments in future?
I don't know. I think you could do a more skill-based tournament where it's like you get put against a boss, like a Labyrinth of Legends type boss, and just whoever does the most damage, or if you could kill it in the best time. Like, it's just an insane challenge, like millions of health, and whoever does the most damage can win, because that really shows skill. Yeah,
that's a very good point, and obviously that will separate a lot of players. And maybe good to have like 3 different tournaments, maybe something of like a hard, intermediate, and kind of beginner based on maybe skill sets, or depending like who wants to enter into what, to give that diversification with different player base. Because I think there was a lot of people that were, and that's another question really. Did you find a lot of new people coming to the booth that maybe wanted to pick up the game, or said like, hey, this is interesting, I might start playing this now?
Yeah, man, the lines were super long, because basically there was 2 stations to fight at. One was like, it was a really easy Ultron fight where you can bring any champion in, your time doesn't matter, and that line was just huge, and I could just hear like the people running that lineup like showing new players how to play. Like, they're like, oh, you press here to block, here to attack. So there's definitely a lot of people coming to check out the game, which is really good. That
is really cool, and obviously that's going to be like a really popular thing with New York Comic Con and Marvel Contest of Champions. So I'm really hoping that I can get out there next year, because it just looks so amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, obviously this has been a great interview. Thank you very much, Lagacy, for giving you time to talk about being the champ. So,
yeah, man, I really appreciate you having me on.
No problem. Right, so guys, thank you very much for watching this video, and obviously Lagacy's channel is in the description, Lagacy69. Go and watch his stuff. Obviously, Stark Spidey, amazing champion, and obviously an amazing player in shape or form of Lagacy69. Also, you can follow Lagacy at Lagacy69 on Twitter. Like I said, go and follow him. Great stuff, as well as there's some fantastic pictures of him, Yeet, and other stuff from the New York Comic Con, so I strongly suggest going there. So Lagacy, thank you very much for joining me and speaking to everyone. This has been great.
Man, awesome interview. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks guys, and see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.